Hi everyone, welcome back to the Academy of God. And today I wanted to share a certain vision I received from the Lord. And in this vision, I saw myself basically speaking to a large crowd of people. And these are the words that I said. There is a revelation that the Lord has shared with me that He hasn't shared with many people. Because since I don't believe in a doom future, meaning a future where everything is going bad, the world is getting destroyed. Since I don't believe in that kind of future, the light in my understanding is great enough to be able to receive this particular revelation from the Lord. And this is the thing that the Lord showed me. I said, and that revelation concerns the fact that there is a man who will rise from among the people, and that man will become a ruler over the people, and he will attract a great crowd to himself. But that man won't be a human, but he will be a demon in the flesh. And when I said that, I had the feeling that that person was some sort of hybrid, the same way we had Nephilim in the days of Noah. But he will still look like a human being, like a man. And I said, and because of that man, people will be divided in two groups, meaning people, there will be an opposition, and two groups will be formed amongst the people. And the population on the earth will greatly be decreased because of this man. And when I said that, I had the sense that there will be some sort of, he will do certain things that will greatly diminish the number of people on earth. And when I mean greatly, I mean greatly. Now, what I want to stress in this vision that I share with you is the fact that there are certain kind of revelation or understanding you cannot receive from God unless you have a certain amount of light in your understanding or your mind. That's why your Bible talks about renewing the mind. And the reason why, unless you reach a certain level, you cannot receive certain things from God is because the mind is covered in darkness. And that darkness prevents you from receiving certain things from God in a way that even if He speaks to you, you won't hear Him. You won't hear Him clearly. Or He will show you certain things, but you will only perceive a certain amount of it. That's why there are people who goes to heaven. They go to a particular place in heaven, but they only see certain things. They don't see everything that there is in that place. And then somebody else go to that same place in heaven, and they will see other things and even more. They will see beings, angelic beings, that the other person couldn't even see or perceive because of the level of light in your understanding. And that darkness mainly comes from dogma, preconceived ideas, your belief system, but mainly in this time, the religious spirit. That is the reason why a lot of people in the church have a hard time receiving the truth from the Lord, undiluted truth. It always comes through the lenses of the soul. Why? Because of all the filters these words from the Lord, this revelation, whatever they have to go through in your soul And then your soul starts to pick and choose what it lets through and what it keeps. It prevents you from receiving. That's why it's so important to seek the Lord, to cleanse your soul, to change your mind, renew it, to basically deliver you from any type of preconceived idea you have about God, preconceived idea you have about what He says, or ideas you think you know about how things are supposed to play out. People call it biblical prophecies. And most of these things, most of these biblical prophecies are false, because these were people who sat down, read the Bible, and then using their own reason, they started to pick and choose verses here, verses there, to create their own theology. None of these people ever came and said, well, God taught me this about the Bible. Most of these beliefs we have in Christianity, in these theological circles, always come from men. And then it's only men adding on top of men. How? Somebody sits down, he reads a book that somebody wrote about what they think the Bible means or this particular verse means. And then he reads it, he agrees with it, and then he says he receives a revelation from God that went in line with what he already believed. Something that I learned from walking with the Lord is that when God truly speaks, He will often show us things that rocks our boat, things that we don't necessarily agree with. You can take, for example, Jesus when he spoke in his time. He wasn't he wasn't going around preaching things that people already agreed with. He was preaching things that were literally on the verge of heresy, and for many of them it was heresy what he was teaching. He came and he started to say, eat my flesh and drink my blood. He came and he was telling the Pharisees who had the law of Moses, you heard it was said to you, now I say. He was changing what they were believing in to bring them into the truth. See, Jesus, during his ministry, he wasn't fighting the Romans. He was fighting the religious system of that time. He was fighting the religious dogma, the religious mindset the people had during that time. And it's the same thing that he is still fighting today. It's the same thing Jesus is still dealing with today. Because the Pharisees of yesterday are the Catholic and the Protestant and the Lutherans, the Evangelicals, the Pentecostal. It doesn't matter what denomination you have today, it's still the same spirit. And that spirit, it basically says, this is what I believe. Now, God, if you speak to me, you have to speak in the same words I use. You have to speak to me in the same box where I am. Because if you go outside, then it's the voice of the devil. That's religion. And this is why the church, 2,000 years after Jesus, we're going nowhere. We are not doing anything. We are talking about the devil does this, the agents of the devil do that, the Illuminati this, the Illuminati that, even though authority and power was given to the church, not to these people. And somehow, all the church is doing is sitting down and waiting for Jesus to come and rescue them from the world. Even though you are supposed to change the world,